we're doing the braised pork for the pulled pork sandwiches. Okay, I'm going to show you guys how to cut the pork. You're going to get about 2 pounds of pork butt, and you're going to want to cut them into planks. Make sure you curl your fingers, have your knuckles out, and you go ahead and slice it into planks. I find it easier to work with, and then you can do one slab at a time, and you're going to cut it into like 1/2-inch cubes. The smaller, you don't want to go too small because it'll take more time, prep time, but the smaller they are, the better it will be for braising. It'll take less time to cook. And then you will cut all the pork up, and once the pork is cut up, we will then saute it. Now we're going to saute the pork for the braised pulled pork. And so you're going to get a saute pan. You're going to add oil and make sure it's a thin layer. Right now I'm using the vegetable oil, but you can use the olive oil or the vegetable, whichever one you'd like. We're going to do it in batches because this will not all fit in this pan. You'll need tongs, and if you want to use your hands, you can. I'm just going to add a pair of gloves. You'll need to lightly season this because it will help when you season as you go. It will help make the flavor, develop the flavor better. Okay, so again, we're gonna wait so that the viscosity of the oil is very loose and that we see a little steam coming. Right now it's a little steam, but you'll want a little smoke coming from the pan. That's kind of close, so we're gonna take the pork and do a nice thin layer. You don't want to overcrowd the pan because you will end up steaming the pork and not sauteing the pork. And then you want a little season. Make sure you make it rain. Okay. And then we will let it golden brown just on the one side. It doesn't need to be on all sides. We just want to create that Maillard reaction. And then we'll put it in the pan and then do the next batch. And you can continuously do each batch as you go in the same pan. And we're waiting for the color, the meat that's touching the pan, the color of it to turn golden brown, because then we know that that will be the color that we want, as well as it will be done. Once it releases from the pan as well, is another signal of the protein cooking properly and getting to that Maillard reaction. So just take a couple of seconds right now. Do a little bit more. Remember, try not to continually touch the protein. A little bit more. If it flames up, just move it away from the flame to bring it back. And you want that golden brown look. Once you have that golden brown look, turn the flame down and go ahead and move your pork to this third pan. And then do your next batch. You might need to add more oil to the pan, but you continuously use the same pan. Okay, now that we have seared all the pork for the braised pork, we have our pan here, the same one that I've been using to sear all the batches. We're gonna deglaze the pan with the Dr. Pepper. Flame is off, and then you wanna put the Dr. Pepper in it. This will also warm up the Dr. Pepper, so you can turn the heat back on just so that it can loosen all that fond that you saw on the bottom of the pan, and it will release. And you're basically deglazing the pan so it can get all that flavor that we put in there into the broth. Okay, and then once it heats up, you're going to pour it directly over. I'm going to warm it up just a little bit more because I can see that I have more fond on the bottom of the pan. So I'm just going to get that all off with my rubber spatula. You don't want to boil this too hard. You just want it to get hot so that when it goes into the oven, it's not ice cold. So you'll turn off the flame, pour the rest of that Dr. Pepper and the fond back into the pan. Take the liquid smoke. We only need 1 tablespoon of it. So we'll go ahead and put 1 tablespoon in. And then we'll go ahead and we're gonna do a plastic wrap foil method that I've been teaching you guys, where we plastic wrap the top of the container twice, making the plastic nice and thick, and make sure you tuck in all the plastic to the lip of the pan. And then you're going to grab a piece of foil. You want to make sure that you put the shiny side down, and it helps retain the heat better in the pan. So the dull side up will pull in heat and keep it trapped into the pan. And then we're going to put this in a oven at 325, and we'll check it in an hour and a half. And then as long as the meat is fork tender, it's ready to go. So we'll come back and check it in the oven. Hi, we're gonna do the barbecue sauce for the pulled pork sandwiches, okay? So you just need a saucepan, a small one, and then we need to combine all the ingredients. So the first ingredient is ketchup. Using a rubber spat allows you to scrape the edges so you can get all the ingredients out of the container. We have about 2 containers of ketchup. You might just have 1, so you don't have to have 2. Okay, and then we have water. Then we have vinegar, apple cider vinegar. And then we have molasses. It is a little thick, so you want to definitely grab a rubber spatula because you will not be able to get everything out of the container if you just pour it. Rubber spatula works really well. Worcestershire sauce, brown sugar, okay, yellow mustard, and garlic powder, onion powder, and then black pepper and cayenne pepper. You're going to put this all together and then bring it up to a simmer. Don't boil it. It's going to take a minute, and go ahead and stir it. And then this can be cooked after you put your pork in the oven, because it'll take about 20 to 30 minutes to cook, and your pork will be done, will take longer than that. So definitely cook this while you're waiting for your pork to cook. And then while it cooks, I'll then show you the end product of the sauce. Okay, this is the barbecue sauce for the pork sandwiches. It's been cooking for 20 to 30 minutes now. You can see that it's nice and thick. You can taste it, use tasting spoons, and now you're just going to set it aside. You're going to turn it off, set it aside, make sure that you scrape the bottom, okay? And then it is going to taste a little tart because it's a vinegar-based barbecue sauce, but trust the process. Once we put everything together, the dish will melt well. Okay, we're going to be finishing up our pulled pork sandwiches. The pork has been braising for about 2 hours. And we're going to check that if it's ready, and you'll see that the plastic might have melted, and that's okay. We just take it right off. Try to remember to take off the plastic while it's still hot, or it will stick to the pan. So you can see that most of the liquid has been braised off. You want to check at the pork to see if it's fork tender. So it's a light pull and they're completely done. You can also taste it, which it feels and tastes complete. It's nice and soft and it shreds nicely. So we'll go ahead and strain the meat. You can actually add the liquid if you would like to your pulled pork. You just have, I would recommend straining it first, shredding it, adding the barbecue sauce, and then seeing if you still need to loosen it at that point. but I wouldn't add all of it right now. And I wouldn't recommend throwing it away until you are completely done with the dish. We got all the pork, and then we're gonna shred it right now. You just take 2 forks and grab one and just pull apart, and then I'll go ahead and shred this. Now that the pork is all shredded, you want to put on a pair of gloves, because at this point we'll be doing ready to eat foods. So you'll take the pork and your barbecue sauce that has already been cooked and ready and is hot as well. You'll take a spoon and you'll want to spoon in some of the sauce. Go ahead and give it a good stir. To me, it looks like it needs just a little bit more sauce. And this is very hot still, so that's how you would want it. And then I'm going to show you guys how to do the coleslaw. Coleslaw, you have the mix that's already ready to go. You're going to add the vinegar. You're going to add the honey. And then you're going to add the mayonnaise. And you're going to season. Give this a mix. You don't want to do this too far in advance, because once you mix it, the vegetables will start breaking down, and you don't. The whole point of having coleslaw in your pulled pork sandwiches is to have fresh crispness. So wilted, soggy coleslaw would not do the sandwich justice. So give that a good stir. Okay, this is the bun for the pulled pork sandwiches. You can toast it in your salamander, and all you have to do is toast and turn it on, and make sure that your salamander is lit up. Your buns are brioche buns, so all you have to do is open them and toast them. Wear gloves, and make sure you use tongs to grab the sizzle platter, because it will be hot, and it should only take a few minutes. Okay, and once the bread is toasted, you place it down, okay, and you'll go ahead and build your pulled pork sandwich. So we have the pulled pork that we've already tasted and seasoned, so make sure it tastes good before you build your pulled pork sandwich. You'll put a spoonful of the pork, and you only need to plate one for me, and then you can plate the rest for yourself after you bring it to taste. Okay, and you'll put some coleslaw on top. You'll cover it, and then we'll go ahead and transfer the sandwich to a plate, and then you can go ahead and serve this to me for tasting. If you want more sauce, make sure you put more sauce if you guys taste it and decide that you guys want more.